I just want to talk very fast here because I'm so paranoid that they're going to pull the plug on us here in the Rose Garden.
Welcome to today's cable news craziness, where we take a look at some of the craziness that takes place on cable news. Today, the worst person on cable news, Joy Reid on MSNBC, has Hannah Jones on of 1619 fame. You know, the New York Times project that says America actually started in 1619 because of slavery, which of course is ridiculous. So you would expect the things she's saying today to be equally ridiculous. For example, the situation at the U.S. Capitol, the riots, the insurrection, the sedition. Apparently that was all racially motivated. The evidence? Well, I mean, there is none, but let's just say it anyway. Roll it.
Well, here we saw, lieutenant colonel in the military. We saw the relatives of judges. We saw CEOs there. They brought a noose. There were chants to kill people in office, and this was all directly related to Black political power. Well, that's what lynchings were about 100 years ago. That's what lynchings were about 60 years ago. So I think this belief that somehow if Trump leaves office, you can just put all this back in the can and it will disappear, it just isn't true. Trump didn't create this. He tapped into what was already a very important part of the American fabric, an important part of the fabric of this country that we have not yet dealt with.
You are seeing a lot of this in the American media these days. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, and our local newspaper, AL.com, decided to refer to 7 of the 8 Republican congressmen from the state of Alabama as Klan members. Why? Well, there's no reason. They all voted against certifying the vote there in Congress when all of this went down. Somehow that was racially motivated. Again, how? I don't know, but they drew them with Klan hoods on, and it makes absolutely no sense. There was nothing racial mentioned in any of this. But the angle the American media has decided to take on all of this is that any disagreement with the Democratic Party is basically racist. Why? Because African Americans vote for the Democratic Party at about a 90% clip. So therefore, any opposition to anything the Democratic Party wants to do is racially motivated. Tax cuts, racially motivated. Conservative judges, well, racially motivated. Second Amendment, racially motivated. Illegal immigration, stopping it, of course, racially motivated. All these things are done for one reason and one reason only, and that is to gin up African-American turnout, because they know if you get big African-American turnout, 90+% of that goes for Democrats, and that helps them win elections. I'm not hating on the strategy, I am merely explaining it. Now, Hannah Jones, ignorant of history and ignorant here, there was nothing racial about any of this. Were there racists in that crowd? Oh my God, yes, I am absolutely certain there were racists in that crowd. Does that mean that everyone in that crowd was racist? No, of course not. Does that mean that the people in that crowd were motivated by racial animus? No, of course not. And saying it is doesn't make it so. But nobody is going to question this. You know why nobody's going to question it? Because the people who are attacking the Capitol are scumbags. So you might as well call them racist, right? Unfortunately, you're tarring everyone else who agrees with anything they believe. And by the way, I mean anything. Like there were, electoral issues in different states, which of course there were, and they needed to be discussed. And that's completely okay. That doesn't make it a racial issue. Nobody was suggesting that African American votes don't count. Nobody has said anything remotely like that, yet somehow that has become a rallying cry for the media and their Democrats. And again, there is nobody to stand in the breach and say anything about it because of all the terrible stuff that went down at the U.S. Capitol. It doesn't make it true. It is just a statement of fact. And unfortunately, that is going to carry the day. That situation at the U.S. Capitol, that riot, that insurrection, that sedition at the U.S. Capitol is going to set the conservative movement back significantly. And the American media is already capitalizing on this. Democrats in Congress are already capitalizing on this, and it is not going to stop anytime soon. It will lead to more cable news craziness, and I will continue bringing that to you right here every single day. All you have to do is like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, and come on back tomorrow. Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my good friend Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate Team. Now, Matt Curtis has been a friend of mine for a long time, but he's been my realtor longer than that. He has done a great job for me. He has bought and sold homes. One time he sold a house so quickly that I was standing in the living room with my wife and I said, where are we going to live? We sold our house so quickly we didn't even have a place to live. Matt Curtis solved that problem for me as well. Matt Curtis is that amazing. So learn more about Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate Team by going to mattcurtisrealestate.com. Check him out today and tell him Dale Jackson sent you.